Hi, I'm Wayward, and this is Universe at War. I have a great 1 versus 1 for you today. I'm really excited to show you. In the top left, in the red as Novus, I have MelonFace 22, or Melon as I'll be calling him, and down in the bottom right, I have YourDoctor as the blue hierarchy. I don't assume that a lot of people are going to have a lot of knowledge about Universe at War up front, so I'm going to talk about what's going on and a little bit of in-depth detail as to what the units do and all of the different rules and systems of the game. Additionally, I'm going to gush a little bit about why I like Universe at War so much, so I apologize, but not really up front because of that. To me, this matchup is the archetypal matchup in Universe at War. Just like, again, maybe just for me, Terran versus Zerg is kind of the archetypal matchup in StarCraft. Not to say that the Protoss aren't important, or in this game, not to say that the Masari aren't important. But this is kind of what I think of when I think of the game. So what we have going on right now is we have these 2 glyph carvers dropping down glyphs for Reapers. Reapers are, of course, the harvester unit for the hierarchy. And this is a glyph for a habitat walker. Now, in Universe at War, the hierarchy faction are pretty much the one that people know the most because of these walkers. The walker is basically a giant mobile base. It has legs that have hard points that are buildings, and they have a crown that's called the head, the torso, that has additional hard points that are structures, and it can literally walk and crush other structures under its feet. You'll see in a second when it comes down. I'm actually going to maybe wait here. Let's see. I apologize in advance. The replay systems aren't super good in this game. There's no tracking back and forth. There it goes, bam, there on the ground, and then it unfolds itself. I can't track back and forward, I can't fast forward, I can't rewind, I can't pause, and the entire game is from the perspective of the player who recorded the replay. So we are working with a limited system, but I think the game is good enough to merit it. So, what are we looking at here? These are Reaper drones. They are autonomous. Players can control them, but they often don't. They kind of walk around, do their own thing. Reaper drones don't have a refinery to return to. They just kind of shoot resources up into the sky. The reason I'm following this particular Reaper drone is because I want to talk about another system unique to the hierarchy. They see these cows here. It's going to suck them up and get an additional little boost of resources from them. Over here, for the Novus, we have 3 recycling centers. There's actually a limit for each faction, for each building type. So Novus can build 5 recycling centers, and 5 robotics assemblies, and 5 or 8 or something flow generators. There's even a limit to these pylons, these flow conduits, which are invisible. They work kind of like a mix between the Creep and the Protoss's power system. And of course, they depend on these flow generators. If this flow generator goes down, literally everything connected to it turns off. So it's a little bit worse. It's like a giant Artosis pylon, if you understand that reference. Now, the Novus can have several of these distributed anywhere on the map, so long as they're connected to the rest of the network. But it's still an interesting limitation. So, we have the Novus player out here. We have a capture of this outpost, and we have these scouts, these ohm bots, coming down to scout and see what the hierarchy player is up to. For YourDoctor's perspective, we have a couple of turrets. This is an arc turret. It attacks air units. These are plasma turrets. They attack ground units. So it is definitely set up to be an assault weapon and not a unit production facility. It can still produce units, it's just not very good at it. There are different hard points that make it better at calling in new units. Down here we have a detection drone being called in. These are gravitic turrets, they are anti-air. We've got a scout here on this Reaper. We see the habitat walker. Now, this thing can move, but it's very slow. It's going to take a very long time for it to get across the map. So this alone is telling MelonFace, or Melon, that he's got some time. We see a Reaper here, and these Reapers are spreading out. This is the smart thing to do, keeping them far apart. The hierarchy do want to protect their arrival site, their command center, but really it's best if it's hard to find their stuff. So we have a second wave of infantry coming down here. And of course, they're being made short work of. Back up here, still just got some more recycling centers going on. There's a limit, I think I already said this, but there's a limit of 5, I believe. Once you have 5, you're just kind of good to go. Now, what the Novus is the 5th one, and we have a flow generator coming down. Now, I've tried to cast this game multiple times, and I've had kids wake up and stuff, and I've had to start over a bunch of times. So I've said this before, but you haven't heard it, because this is the first time you're hearing this. Keeping these flow generators so close together is not necessary. It's probably actually bad. If a hierarchy walker makes it up here, it is a screen length away from all of the power generating capability for the entire faction. So it's better to keep these things spread apart to avoid losing all of your power at once. Now, the other thing we really want the Novus player to do, and he's doing it so far, this is a science center. This allows the Novus player to get access to their high-tier tech. We want to see MelonFace aggressively expand this network. It's good to get his units across the map. It's good for map vision. It's good for these little recycler drones to be able to get access to resources more quickly. So this is a really pivotal part of a Novus strategy, is to get this network as wide as you can. There's even upgrades that let the network cleanse your units and infect enemy units with viruses and stuff. So it's vital that Novus be able to have a really robust network. For our hierarchy player, we have an assembly walker come down. This thing is more powerful than the habitat walker, a little harder to kill, and also it produces vehicles instead of infantry units. Speaking of infantry units, we have some grunts out. They are incredibly powerful ground-only attackers. They have a pretty short range, but they are really tanky, and they do area of effect damage and can be upgraded with grenades. So quite a powerful infantry unit, and this is a spitter turret. It is a really, really, really nasty base defense. Does lots of area damage and is pretty hard to kill. There we have our assembly walker, one of the coolest looking things in the entire game, and possibly all of RTS, but that's me being biased maybe. So we have the science center down, it's being upgraded. We finally have a vehicle assembly and an aircraft assembly out, and this one has been upgraded with the wave amplifier to produce amplifiers. The amplifiers are basically ground-based void rays. And we also have the aircraft assembly and some corruptors out. So finally starting to get some tech here is the Novus player. So we have a little ball of ohm bots coming out. Ohms actually can turn themselves into grenades. They can throw themselves at things and detonate, dealing damage but dying in the process. It's actually a really flexible unit, but really fragile, and unfortunately pathing right into this spitter turret, which does nasty AoE. Now what we could have happen here is all of these ohm bots sacrifice themselves to turn into a grenade to kill the spitter turret, but no one doesn't think of that, and so they are all ignominiously defeated, almost but not quite getting that spitter turret. Up here we have a little tech army, got some corruptors. These things can spread a virus to enemy units, and then here's our amplifier. Again, one of my favorite units in the game. I think it looks cool, and it's very potent, especially with the right upgrades. Speaking of upgrades, since we've got a little bit of time here, there's actually a lot of grunts. Let's take a look and see what our Novus player is doing. So how upgrades work in Universe at War is they're independent of any structure. You have this upgrades tab, and you can pick upgrades that are divided into 3 branches, each with 4 nodes. Each node has multiple upgrades that it provides for the player, and you have to buy a lower node to get access to a higher one. So right now, our Novus player is researching the flow branch, which has to do with the flow network. So tier 1 allows units to go through it faster and gives you a patch. Now I'll talk about patches in a second. Flow branch 2 unlocks the founder hero stealth upgrades for several units and a patch, and the second patch. So let's talk really when we're researching tier 3. So how patches work is the Novus player, see this menu here, can pick patches up to 2 at a time. A new patch will overwrite the rightmost patch, I believe. Got a base coming up over here, second base for the hierarchy player, another command center coming down. It's called the arrival site. Just slipped my mind for a moment. This is important because hierarchy bases are fragile, so hiding stuff all over the map is useful. Oh, finally have these walkers moving out. That's a really impressive sight to me. I really like seeing these things stomp across the battlefield. There's the other one. It's kind of taking a more roundabout approach. Oh, and our hierarchy player has equipped it with mass drivers. This is a really popular tactic right now in the Universe at War community, such as it is. The assault branch has these kind of really powerful anti-ground weapons in the mass driver, and we have the hierarchy's hero, Warlock the Eternal, out. He's really, really hard to kill, really high health, and has a mortar attack that can go all the way across the map. And the further he shoots, the less accurate he is, and he has to suck up resources from buildings in order to attack, but still, usually worth it. And a Science Walker coming down. There's a limit for the hierarchy of 3 walkers, so this is the third and final one that he can build. And with the Assault Branch, the Science Walker has an upgrade called the Visual Optimizer that it can put in its crown hardpoints that eventually, with 3 of them, can provide the hierarchy player with full map vision. So, map hacks for this player. As well as these really nasty mass driver cannons that kill just everything. So Novus might be in a little bit of trouble, but we have the Novus' super weapon up, and it's ticking down. This super weapon is called the Black Hole Generator. Kills just about anything. Nice little army, have some redirection turrets up. I've said this like 6 times because I keep trying to cast this, but the redirection turret is one of my favorite turrets in any game. It doesn't look super impressive, but it has this amazing visual effect where it grabs a unit attack, swings it around in a very precise arc and right back at what shot it. It's a really, really impressive effect. So, YourDoctor has captured this outpost, and Melon is having none of that, so here is our first real army engagement that is actually an engagement. So we have these amplifiers, and amplifiers are really more of an anti-heavy thing than anti-infantry. We have some corruptors, which cannot be attacked by the grunts, and all of the ownbots, which are kind of weak to the grunts. So, and then we have Warlock's artillery going down. We have the Novus player capturing these outposts while attacking. That's quite interesting. I've noted this before in previous attempts to cast this, but I believe these amplifiers could be using an alternate attack mode that's supposed to be anti-building, but also pushes away infantry, and is pretty potent against these grunts. So this is a bit of a missed opportunity, and we lose a couple of amplifiers because of it. Finally, the Walker is in range and is slamming down the rest of this army. Of course, Novus produce really, really fast, so we have another army already ready. And in fact, our Novus player, Melon, has almost full supply. And, of course, YourDoctor now knows that because we have this Science Walker with visual optimizers up, and you can see the entire map. Interestingly, this Assembly Walker is not involved in combat. It could have been had it taken a more direct approach. So, a little bit of damage on this Walker, but not going to kill it, not anywhere close. It does take out this hard point, though. So now nothing else can be built here, and once this coolant node is destroyed, that's halfway to killing the Walker. Walkers don't have hit points. Each node has hit points. You can kill the legs and it walks slower. You can kill the crown hardpoints to access the coolant nodes. Kill 2 coolant nodes, the whole Walker dies. This thing, you have to kill its arms, you have to kill the middle, and then you have to kill each one again to drop it, so these things are a little sturdier. Another much larger Novus army out. Same basic force composition, a lot more amplifiers and a lot more corruptors in play. Nothing much going on over here, nothing much going on back here. Just kind of got some harvesting going on. This is smart by YourDoctor, getting some harvesting done on his opponent's side of the map, taking resources away from Melon in the long term. So, this Walker's still kind of really far from the other one. It's interesting that YourDoctor is not choosing to engage here. Now these amplifiers are going to kill this pretty quick if YourDoctor doesn't do something. We have that coolant node completely destroyed. And I think there's enough Novus DPS here to maybe take this thing out if the hierarchy player isn't careful. That there, this is the virus. Oh, we have a sell-off. Like in Command & Conquer, you can sell things in this game. And it's often smart to do so in situations like this. So, YourDoctor has just recouped the cost of this walker, and I believe it's hard points. And has, of course, denied the Novus player the husk. So these vehicles stay as husks and can be harvested by either the Novus or hierarchy harvesters. Getting a recap on that outpost. This thing changes hands a lot during this match, let me tell you. Amplifiers are pretty weak. This thing definitely is going to go down. And a recap by YourDoctor. We have another new fancy shiny army out from our Novus player. Field Inverters, this is one of the most powerful units in the game, hands down. It has a railgun. Oh, and we have the Matter Conduit, super weapon for the hierarchy player, out. So things are looking pretty bad right now for Melon. He's got a pretty small army. He's got mass drivers knocking on his door. Oh, but we have the black hole. And it is going to just kill all these hard points. Not the walker itself. It's going to damage it and not kill off any of the hard points underneath. It is actually really vulnerable right now. It can only attack in front of itself, so it can't even attack this unless it stops what it's doing. Interestingly, this army is going off to the side over here, I think, to contest this base. We'll have to see what happens with that. Keep an eye on that. And we also have our EMP super weapon. Novus are the only faction with 2 super weapons. They basically need it. Their units are more fragile. They do a lot of replacing of units rather than preserving. So, definitely useful for them to have one super weapon that turns things off and another super weapon that kills things. So we have this walker being attacked, and we also have this base under assault, kind of pathing through that spitter turret's range. Things tend to have a longer range in this game than you would think, especially with how low the cannon is. And it looks like we have, yep, we've got all 4 tiers of the flow branch researched, which means amplifiers are nasty. There's an upgrade that causes them to do more damage, and their shots chain to things like walker hard points. Down here we have some more picking away at the walker. Really, it shouldn't have stopped there. YourDoctor should have sent it out. More units coming out. Oh, and we have the Novus Hero, the founder, and he can serve in one of his 2 modes as a flow network generator, which of course lets units travel anywhere really rapidly. Over here, we can just have some general cleanup at the base while the Science Walker is fighting this little Novus army. It could go down pretty easily. So, field inverters have a shield mode and a railgun mode. They're really powerful. The railgun does a lot of damage, and the shield basically takes hits for anything inside the shield. So, these Ownbots attacking the walker managed to, looks like, take out that mass driver, but then of course the Ownbots go down themselves. Re-upping on some amplifiers. That's a pretty small force. I don't think we should send that out against the walker, but probably take out that Reaper drone. Looks like the one field inverter got taken out, but the Science Walker is now rapidly being killed. And there it goes. And a Habitat Walker coming down up here. It's probably a little risky, but this army's kind of small now, so we'll have to see what happens. Oh, with the Glyph Carver, it's taken out. Cat Walker's still there, could come down. Nope, he sees it and manages to take it out. Looks like that... No, the Walker's still there. This army's nowhere near enough to take out a Walker with 2 mass drivers. Even damage, these things are still really potent. Let's see... Don't have another Walker coming down. We do have a 3rd arrival site, which is fortuitous because this base is about to be killed. Got that super weapon. Boom. Crumbling. So let's take a look. Novus players doing pretty well. Really not enough flow network. Melon should be able to see like half the map right now. these constructors need to be out on the map building flow nodes. We have these already, these recycling drones are long distance mining. Really, they could be down here, they could be out here with these buildings. This is definitely a missed opportunity from Melon, especially with the hierarchy player being so passive right now. So you just have your doctors kind of sitting here waiting. He's lost a lot of stuff. Looks like the army went down. I wonder what killed it. Oh, no, I missed that. I apologize. It could have been Orlok, I guess? I don't know. This base is being fortified, but these upgraded amplifiers are still pretty nasty. We'll have to see what happens. One goes down. Two go down. Let's see. Three go down. Is this enough to take out that mass driver? Yes, just barely. And then the fourth amplifier goes down. So again, these weapons being stripped off this walker, but no additional damage being done. Nothing permanent. Got some more field inverters. We have the Founder and some antimatter tanks. Another one of my favorite unit designs. This thing is just, I love its little donut shape and its giant derpy gun with a little black hole and weapon in there. More mass drivers coming down. These are actually super cheap, so really good to have these to soak up shots for the fragile and much, much more expensive wave amplifiers. So nice force mix and getting the more disposable unit right out in front. This walker is going down now. This army is definitely big enough to take it out, even if they lose a little bit of units. Oh, we actually have summoned in. So these saucers are a really useful utility unit for the hierarchy. They have an attack mode. We have a super weapon going down. Black hole dropping here. Possibly killing some of the turrets. It's not going to kill the arrival site, but we have some turrets killed. So, little win there, I think, probably. Could have been more useful. These amplifiers definitely need to get out before saucers kill them. See, there's little orange balls on them. Those are the saucers through attacks. They have 3, and they can also switch to a healing mode. But they're going to teleport back through the flow. Yes? No? I don't know what's going on here. I think Melon might have forgotten about them. And now attacking the hero. Oh, he's bringing an army to help. Also useful. This is a good point to note that heroes auto-heal when not being attacked, which is very useful. Nice little force here. Again, really disappointed that Melon is not expanding more aggressively. He really needs to be doing this, getting more factories, getting more, definitely a lot more of these flow conduits, really aggressively expanding. This is a relatively small and tightly packed base, if you can believe it, for the Novus. Really could do with having a lot more flow. Again, could be out here getting these resources, out here getting these resources. This long-distance mining is likely to hurt him in the late game. It really is slowing down the rate at which Melon can gain new resources. Looks like YourDoctor must have lost some of his Reapers, building another one down here in the corner. This is a nice little spot for him. A lot of resources here with these cars and these little shops. Let's see. Got some more defenses coming up. But no walkers. So we've gone from it looking like the Novus player is going to lose to it looking like the hierarchy player can possibly win. Because right now he's got nothing but a single hero. There's no production, there's just a couple of defenses. This is really bad. Another Reaper drone coming down. This building doesn't even stand a chance. And it looks like Melon is getting in close to use the resonance mode. There we go. So this actually pushes back infantry pretty substantially and does decent damage to them as well. Also does tremendous damage to buildings. Okay. Nice big Novus force. A lot of these really nasty field inverters, a lot of amplifiers, and of course a couple of AM tanks mixed in. And this one, this one lone corruptor there for wall support. Otherwise, looking pretty grim for YourDoctor at this point. No walkers, seemingly no resources I can't see, but he's not building any walkers, so that's a decent number of spitter turrets with that Desolator upgrade that deals passive AoE damage. So at this point, it looks like it could just be a death march across the map for Melon. And really well done. I'm actually personally more partial to Novus, but that could just be because in this meta, hierarchy have been really dominant. A lot of the hierarchy players are either better players, or it could be that hierarchy are easier to play at a low level, or some combination of those things. But a lot of the time, the hierarchy players win our matches in the Universe of War community, and it's a bit demoralizing. So right now, I'm kind of a little bit rooting for Melon. Looks like we have one, maybe two walkers coming down here. That's a big circle on the mini-map. Yep, so we have two. Oh, Novus player scouting that with a detection drone. So Melon knows that YourDoctor is producing these assembly walkers. There's a bit of a balance issue. There's after a certain point, there's no real reason to build habitat walkers. The walkers are really powerful, and with the assault branch upgrade, mass drivers and beam cannons, it's not often. Oh, we actually had cancels on them, and it looks like we have a science walker coming down here in our little hidden harvesting area. So YourDoctor trying to be sneaky, I think maybe giving this base up for lost because he knows the Novus are incoming. Again, I know I've said this a lot and recently, but really disappointing to me that Melon is not. Got that virus coming down. Virus is of limited usefulness unless you're taking virus-specific upgrades from the computing branch. Accidental misclick, all of these amplifiers going into resonance mode. Bit of a problem. Looks like we have another assembly walker coming down, and kind of in a good position to sneak up the side, maybe kill some resources, and fight the Novus base. So we'll have to see what happens there. Right now, just kind of this extended cleanup operation going on. Some Desperation turrets. Sounds like we have the, yep, got the gravity bomb ready, got the EMP is charging up. Detection drone going down, that's going to be expensive for the hierarchy player to fix. Now, got the gravity bomb fired off. Orlock hiding down here in the corner. Looks like he was sucking up some buses or something. A lot of resources there. Another assembly walker, so we have a potential Doom march over here. And of course we have map hacks mode enabled for the hierarchy player. Again, if you get really up close, you can see the little hexes. Pretty good models, I think. Anyway, our cleanup is almost done over here. Lost a little more units than maybe he should have to these defenses. I think being a little more careful with the play would have preserved a lot more of this army. Still really kind of slacking on the expansion of the flow network. Really would be good and important and to be necessary as a Novus player. You want that thing as big as it can be. Especially with the flow branch, because you can go from one side of the map to the other in seconds through the flow network. Yeah, they are invisible. That's a flow upgrade. Tier 2, stealth upgrade. Upgrades field inverter shield to cloak all units underneath it. Blade troopers gain passive cloaking. Oh, and we've taken some nanotech branch. Now, nanotech is mostly resources. And this is something else that Melon is not doing too well, is swapping out patches. So the same two patches the whole match, and there are some really nasty patches like overclocking, which causes units to take 50% more damage but attack faster, which would be really useful in killing these walkers. Also, we have, let's see, clone stability. No, that's not a patch. Backup systems, which would give all units additional health, or optimized collection, which has collectors gathering more resources per trip. So a little bit of a missed opportunity here from our Novus player. Oh, and we have the founder zooming around trying to find out what the hierarchy player is doing. grabs this, sees this glyph carver trying to sneak off to build another base. Okay, there we go. Switches into his larger mode. I believe it's called performance mode. This was the founder trying to turn that crashed plane into a bunch of own bots, but missing a little bit. But yeah, the founder has two different modes with different abilities. One of them is more combat focused, one of them is more scouting focused and maneuverable, and they have different abilities. So, really useful utility hero. Not super duper cool looking, not bad, but anyway, we have those mass drivers, and interestingly enough, we have some phase tanks. Those crescent-shaped things are to unlock unit production, and those particular ones produce phase tanks, which are, as the name implies, tanks that can phase or become temporarily invulnerable and unblockable, so they can get in past defenses or escape really easily. That's a useful unit. Oh, base is scouted. A bit of a wasted EMP, I think. Bit trigger happy on the EMP.
Facility under attack.
It's like this hierarchy outpost is about to go down, being eaten by this Reaper drone. There it goes. Sucked up. And we had the scout on these sneaky assembly walkers. So we'll have to see if that's enough to stop the death march. Warlock doing very little. Warlock usually gets more mileage than this. YourDoctor is not using him to the best of his ability. Okay, let's actually pay attention to combat. I had a quick run in. Looks like this one is losing its mass drivers pretty quickly. Got that force field up, and smartly we have all the units hiding under that force field, trying to take out those walkers. It's like that shield is good. I really, by the way, this is in the middle of combat, but I really like the time to kill in this game. Things last just about long enough for the player to react. You don't have things evaporating like they do in Command & Conquer. Units are kind of nice and sturdy, and they stay around for a little bit. So this gives the founder a little bit of time to run away, and Melon time to regroup with more field inverters and amplifiers. So this is one thing that kind of I'm not super a fan of in Universe at War, is once you have field inverters and amplifiers, there's not a ton of a reason to build other ground units. They just do so much damage, and they're so much better than other units. You don't see a lot of the early game units like like antimatter tanks or own bots as much, because these things are just so efficient at taking down the hierarchy. We do see some own bots here, but they're clearly not doing a ton. We have another vortex coming down right on top of this walker, stripping it of. Oh, it actually killed the Novus player stuff too. Actually, worked out a lot of Melon's resources, but it makes this walker a lot less threatening, and it's slower because it lost a leg. This walker actually making it pretty far. Could end up taking out this aircraft assembly. See, look at that. Look at this. They're swinging around it. I love that effect. It throws it right back to whatever shot the weapon. This walker getting pretty low. Still could get up a little closer. These tanks are trying to take out the flow generators, but we do fortunately have 3 of them for Novus, so well targeted by YourDoctor, but not, even if it takes out the flow generator, which it does not. Our Novus player still would have been okay. That was a missed opportunity by Melon, who sold that and got the resources, some of the resources back for it. I think there's a Novus upgrade that allows the Novus player to sell back their buildings for full resources eventually. Let's see if that EMP goes down. Probably should, because the amplifier is getting right up under the walker. It's lost 3 of its legs though, so it's going pretty slow. Yeah, it's stepped on. This will probably have been stepped on too. Yep, stepped on. So by the rules of games, basically, it doesn't have to be stepped on, it just has to touch the walker's foot. You see how fast that amplifier took it out? Oh man. This walker going down hard. You will notice that walkers can attack even when they're EMP'd, but they lose the ability to move and to do most other things. That's a nice sell-off. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's going to get sold before it dies. Actually, we have a dervish now. Dervishes are a really nasty air superiority fighter. Let's see if I can get up close to it. Super fast and maneuverable, high damage, not great health, but pretty good for Melon to be mixing a couple in. Hopefully he will do more. So we finally have a little bit of expansion, a belated flow conduit that really needs to pick this up and get these all over the map. This is, I think, a good opportunity for me to talk about my shooting. So you see how far apart these shots are, and they're not doing a ton of damage. This flow generator lost a bit of health, but it's still fine. Got that dervish scouting out that arrival site. So this is what dervishes are useful for, is that's a bit of a waste. That death loss is going to kill the arrival site. Very little damage to it. I think there was a left behind tank there that got wiped out. Science Walker's still there. We have the other hierarchy hero, Kamal Rex, coming out. He is a very, very powerful. Actually, all of the hierarchy heroes are incredibly powerful. It's like we have some more pelting going down. This flow generator is getting actually pretty low. But yeah, Kamal Rex is evil. He's really. That is a one-way force field. Kamal Rex can attack out of it, I believe. He's not choosing to, but I believe he can attack out of it, but Novus can't attack into it. That is his abductability. That kills those units, basically, and gives the hierarchy player the resources from them. Nice little trick here with the founder. Let's see. You have, yeah, a little army teleporting down here through the flow network. Love that. So many fun little abilities in this game. This detection drone going down. Probably a bad target, but who am I to judge? Just ohm bots, though. Ultimate Founder should stay there and get some of these heavy hitters down. Or maybe he could sit next to a building and let some resource gatherers. We have another sneaky assembly walker. This one really close to the Novus' base, so this could be bad for. This could be bad for Melon. All of these defending units or attacking units going down. Let's see, Kamal's already getting health back. Let's see. Heroes do heal out of combat, and pretty quickly it seems. So this is where things get a little bad for Melon. It's going to cost him a lot of money. I don't know that there's resources left in these, actually. With yeah, I think YourDoctor sucked all the resources out of this, and this was sucked up by the black hole. So we're just doing some long-distance mining really slowly for our Novus player. That's actually really bad. We have another assembly walker coming up. So long-term, things have been pretty. Things are now looking kind of shaky for Melon. Repairing out that black hole generator. Without the income, 27 resources, and not a full army. About a 2/3 PopCap army. And moving a decent portion of it down to fight Kamal Rex instead of scouting out these newly outfitted Death Walkers. All those plasma cannons that he doesn't even need to worry about air units at this point. Another one coming down. I think that's going to be the phase tank. Yeah. Phase tank. Unlocker. Hardpoint. So Melon is really, really struggling right now to get up enough units to do anything, and has also lost access to that outpost or he could scout with, has some dervishes, it looks like, but not using them to get map awareness. Actually, these walkers are really vulnerable to dervishes right now because there's... Oh no, we actually do have one anti-air arc turret here and one here. But this thing is the only thing that... Let's see, we have a fight going on down here. Amplifier versus Kamal Rex. Hierarchy heroes are nasty. This army's... These field inverters, not there, hitting the shield. Poorly targeted by Melon. Loses the amplifier, loses the field inverter. This one's gonna go down. One field inverter's not gonna kill Kamal Rex. And the one walker has been spotted. Oh, the super weapon going down? Oh, that'll kill him. Kamal Rex sucked up into the black hole. And there goes the field inverter too, unfortunately. So, nothing here to stop this walker really. Is a couple of... Might be enough to stop one of them, but this one is going for Melon's black hole generator, which is, I believe, just been used. I'm not even sure these inverters are enough to stop these hermit crabs of doom. Not hermit crabs. Horseshoe crabs. Horseshoe crabs of doom. The one walker stopped in its tracks and is going to be killed by this army. I think there's definitely enough units here to take this out. This walker, however, is looking pretty dominant, and more face tanks coming out. This black hole generator is going to go down, and there's not really enough resources for Melon to mount a proper defense. And actually, another matter conduit coming down for YourDoctor. Let's see, Science Walker. It bothers me that YourDoctor does this. Every match he does this. He has one Science Walker that sits there with its visual optimizers and does nothing else. That thing could be fighting. That thing could be... Anyway, so we have the Novus's base cut off here. That black hole generator is gone. We have one of our flow generators going down. Actually, these dervishes, which have been sitting doing nothing, are useful in cleaning up some of those face tanks. But this walker is still... Oh no, it didn't die. It's still going. It manages to clean up that army. Still has one of its mass drivers. Still has all of its leg weapons. Getting dangerously close to this Novus base. There's just not enough resources to mount a proper defense. Even the founder coming in, he's a melee hero, so he can only punch the legs. Coming down here. Oh, he's trying to turn his resources into own bots. Gets 2 for his trouble, and then runs away. More phase tanks coming in. This flow generator going to go down. Oh no. There's not enough damage to stop them. There it goes. Still 2 left though, but not that many resources. I think there's enough here to kill 1 walker, but with 2 walkers, this one's fully healthy. The Science Center goes down. That's the tech. That's the Novus player's tech lost right there. Another flow generator going down. There's just 1 left for our Novus player. With walkers on both sides of the base, the walls are literally closing in for MelonFace. The last flow generator goes down, and that is all she wrote for MelonFace, basically. The map is largely denuded of resources. There's nothing over here. It looks like he's sneaking over here with 2 constructors to try to make something happen. 1 more constructor over here. Completely unpowered. He could sell these, but there's not enough time to build up again. And with the visual optimizers, there's nowhere to hide. MelonFace with a shaky early game, really dominant mid and late game, and now literally on his last legs got the sell-off of the command center. No new command center being built. All of the Novus's structures are gone now. A couple of turrets and a factory. I think this factory, yeah, the factory goes down without a new structure. All the structures are gone. Novus player loses. 42 minutes, really back and forth match. His name was Crackly Bread, apparently. You can see basically why the hierarchy player won, he had a ton more resources gathered. YourDoctor was out on the map the whole time with those Reaper drones, patiently sucking up resources from his opponent's side of the map. Really well played by both players. MelonFace not quite using the Novus to their full potential. There were no hackers. One hacker actually would have shut down most of those phase tanks. Well, a couple of hackers would have shut down those phase tanks pretty handily. But really just not expanding that flow network, not being aggressive with getting it out there, like a Zerg with creep in StarCraft. You know, the Zerg player wants creep everywhere so they can see, so they can get around the map quickly. The Novus player should have done the same thing in this match. Really well done, though. Really had YourDoctor on the back foot several times. Really very close to winning with just those heroes and the gradual resource starvation that kind of turned the tide in YourDoctor's favor. So that's what I like to see, honestly. YourDoctor, if YourDoctor had just stomped into the Novus' base and won, it would have felt really one-sided, but this showed that it came down to the Novus player not using the most of their faction and letting themselves slowly get resource starved, while YourDoctor was able to keep that income coming in so he could build walker after walker after walker, and eventually got in because there weren't enough units to keep them out. So, well played. This has been Universe at War, and I am Wayward. Thanks for watching. I'm sure you'll only watch like 10 minutes of this tops, but if you do watch the whole 40-minute plus shebang, thank you, and I appreciate it.